This isn't just a stadium. It's not just where the Knicks play. This is Madison Square Garden, one of the most iconic arenas in the world, sitting right in the middle of New York City. But now it's caught in a billion-dollar storm. Let's dive inside the wild controversy over the New York Knicks' $1 billion NBA stadium. All right, let's start with the basics. Madison Square Garden, or MSG, is home of the New York Knicks, the New York Rangers, and some of the biggest concerts, boxing matches, and events in American history. The very first MSG was built way back in 1879 on Madison Avenue and 26th Street. It was a big deal at the time. People wore their best clothes to see boxing matches, concerts, and shows. But the building had serious problems, like a leaky roof and balconies that collapsed, which sadly caused deaths. So by 1890s, it was torn down. The second MSG opened in 1890 at the same spot. Designed by Stanford White, it was beautiful, but money problems. By 1925, it got torn down too, replaced by an insurance company building. Then came the third MSG in 1925 on 8th Avenue between 49th and 50th Street. It was built fast in just 249 days by boxing promoter Tex Rickard, so they called it the house that Tex built. It could hold up to 18,496 fans and hosted everything from political conventions to sports, but again, the city outgrew it. New York was changing, and so was the demand for something bigger, louder, and way more modern. So here comes MSG number 4. The one we know today. And guess where did they decide to build it? Right on top of Pennsylvania Station. Yeah, that decision caused outrage. Why? Because Penn Station was beautiful, historic building designed in the fancy Beaux Arts style. People were shocked. They said, "You're destroying one of the most stunning buildings in the country just to build a sports arena?" Preservation groups protested. Newspapers criticized the plan. Even famous architects spoke out. But the developers didn't stop. The Graham Page Corporation led the project and raised $123 million. That's over $1 billion today, all from private investors. They began construction in 1964 and kept going no matter the backlash. Honestly, if you admire stubborn determination, even the controversial kind, hit that like button. And if you love wild stories like this, consider subscribing. There's more architectural chaos ahead. By 1968, the new Madison Square Garden opened, sitting right on top of what used to be Penn Station, like a shiny crown placed on a broken base. Once the dust settled, MSG became the place to be. The New York Knicks made it their home, the New York Rangers brought the ice, and then the real stars rolled in. Muhammad Ali, Elvis Presley, Led Zeppelin, John Lennon, Frank Sinatra, Beyonce. Even the Pope showed up. The presidents too. MSG wasn't just an arena, it was the biggest stage in the world. Globally, only venues like London's Wembley Arena even came close in reputation. But by the early 2000s, one thing was clear. MSG was falling behind. Newer arenas had better tech, better views, better bathrooms, and the Garden looked like it was stuck in 1982. The fans still came, but things had to change. The answer? A massive, jaw-dropping $1 billion renovation. James Dolan, head of the Madison Square Garden Company, made a bold call. Let's not tear it down, let's upgrade it without closing it. So how do you modernize the world's most famous arena without stopping the shows, games, or concerts? Very, very carefully. Renowned architecture firm Brisbane Brook Bynum and engineering giant Thornton Tomasetti were brought in. Renovation was done in phases, with the majority of the work done in the summer months to minimize disruptions to the NHL and NBA seasons. They transformed the Garden from the inside out, everything new, while still letting thousands of fans walk through the doors every night. Construction officially started in 2011 and ran until 2013. And get this, they didn't use a single dollar of taxpayer money. All $1 billion came from operating profits and corporate sponsors. You know, that saying, it takes a village. Well, in this case, it took JP Morgan Chase, Delta Airlines, Lexus, and a bunch of other giant companies. JP Morgan secured naming rights to the Chase bridges, and Delta funded the Delta Sky 360 Club, an ultra-luxurious lounge with food, drinks, and front-row views. Lexus slapped its name on an entire suite level for high-rolling VIPs. Budweiser and Coca-Cola made sure the drinks kept flowing and their logos stayed visible. Without this massive brand support, this renovation might never have happened. So what exactly changed inside the MSG? Let's break it down. The Chase bridges. Probably the craziest addition of two suspended walkways floating about the court and rink. It's like walking on a glass bridge in the sky. Fans could now see the action from a whole new angle without blocking anyone's view. A new scoreboard, 24 feet tall, 28 feet wide, with Ultra HD LED displays that look better than some people's TVs. Sound system. Crystal clear audio, whether you're sitting courtside or in the nosebleeds. Madison Square Garden got a full glow-up. All 18,000 plus seats were swapped for ergonomic ones with better leg room and sidelines. Finally, comfort during overtime. The concourses were widened by 50%, cutting down those annoying halftime traffic jams. Player arenas were revamped too, with hydrotherapy pools, private rooms, and cutting-edge fitness gear. On the luxury side, spots like the Delta Sky 360 Club and Madison Club added gourmet food, lounges, and high-end views. But this upgrade wasn't just about style. It went green. MSG now uses 70% less energy with LED lighting, collects rainwater, and recycles over 80% of its materials. Even the HVAC is eco-friendly. Sounds perfect, right? Not exactly. MSG sits directly above Penn Station, one of the busiest train hubs in North America. Every day, over 600,000 people pass through. But Penn was crumbling, leaky, outdated, and overcrowded. It desperately needed a makeover. The catch? How do you fix a train station when there is a massive arena sitting right on top of it? That's the million-dollar headache. So, in 2013, the New York City Council officially gave MSG a 10-year permit, just 10 years to figure out their next move. The city said this was the first step to creating a brand new Penn Station, one worthy of New York City. Madison Square Garden had just spent hundreds of millions on renovations, but now their long-term future was uncertain. Political pressure was building, and people wanted the garden out of the way so Penn Station could finally breathe. In that same year, 4 major architecture firms came up with proposals for solving the Penn Station problem, and almost all of them involved moving MSG to a new location. Ideas range from relocating MSG to a post office building, building a new arena on a pier by the Hudson River, or even putting it next to the Javits Center. Some plans featured roof gardens, high-tech displays, shopping centers, and even spas. The MSG company, they weren't having it. They call the idea pie in the sky. Moving MSG would cost billions. Plus, it's iconic. Moving it felt unthinkable. The Knicks have played at MSG for over 50 years. It's where legends like Willis Reed, Patrick Ewing, and John Starks made history. Moving the Knicks to a brand new arena somewhere in Queens or New Jersey would be like taking the heart out of the city. Well, the team hasn't won a championship in decades. The fans still fill those seats night after night. So if MSG ever did move, it wouldn't just be a construction decision. It would be a full-blown identity crisis. But from the city's point of view, Penn Station needed help. It was crowded, outdated, and not equipped for the future. And as long as MSG stayed on top of it, major changes were impossible. In 2016, Governor Andrew Cuomo revealed a new plan. He wanted to remove the theater at Madison Square Garden to make more room for Penn Station improvements, but keeping the main arena in place. Not a full relocation, just a compromise. Then in 2021, Moynihan Train Hall opened across the street. It helped ease some crowding, but didn't solve Penn Station's deep-rooted problems. By June 2023, the 10-year permit was about to expire. That's when 3 major agencies, MTA, Amtrak, and NJ Transit, filed a report saying MSG is a problem. Their exact words, quote-unquote, MSG's layout is a huge obstacle to modernizing Penn Station. They couldn't widen platforms, they couldn't improve exits. MSG was basically a roadblock to progress. So what did the NYC Council do? On September 14, 2023, they voted again, but this time they only gave MSG a 5-year permit. That's the shortest permit ever granted to Madison Square Garden. That's basically a polite way of saying, we'll let you stay for now, but don't get too comfortable. Meanwhile, the Penn Station plans are moving ahead slowly. The state is trying to find money, final designs, and legal ways to build around MSG or convince it to move. And MSG, still powerful, still open, still doing sold-out shows and Knicks games. But for the first time in a long time, the future is uncertain. Do you think the Knicks' billion-dollar stadium is worth the price? Or is this just another case of corporate greed taking over sports? Drop your thoughts in the comments, hit like and share. And if you think this was wild, wait until you see what happened with Canada's $1.22 billion NHL arena. Check that out next, and don't forget to subscribe for more.